Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In this week's episode, we're talking about how to build real confidence outside of photos, filters, and social media validation, especially during the summer, when everything feels like it needs to be documented or aesthetic. If this is something that you're struggling with or you just want to hear about, definitely continue listening to this week's episode. Hey guys, it's Mia, and I'm really excited to talk about the content in this week's episode because I feel like it's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I feel like in a world where everything is shared and liked and filtered, confidence can start to feel like a performance, and I want to challenge the big ideas that confidence has to be visible, aesthetic, or online. And I want to give you guys the tools to build real offline confidence that's more rooted in how you feel and not as much how you look, which I feel like is very hard in this day and age where everything is kind of posed and stuff, and it might feel harder to feel confident about yourself, but that's the goal of this week's episode, is to help you feel confident. And it's also something that I'm trying to learn at the same time. So as always, let's talk about the psychology behind it. We have, again, 3 key topics. First one, self-worth versus self-image. I think many teens confuse confidence with external validation. So, for example, likes, comments, posts, TikToks, reposts, the amount of views you get. I think it diminishes our value of ourselves, but real confidence is actually more about the inner stability, not your outer image. Because I think at the end of the day, even though you're getting like 200, 300 likes on your TikTok, if you don't feel confident about yourself from the inside, at the end of the day, you're not going to feel like 100% you or 100% confident. Just because someone tells you that you look pretty, obviously, yes, everyone is gorgeous, but if you don't have the confidence in yourself, it kind of like doesn't balance itself out. Next is intrinsic motivation theory. Teens basically take action based on the personal interest or values, not the external approval, and it builds a lasting self-esteem. That's essentially what we're trying to focus on in this week's episode, is to build your intrinsic motivation so that you can do stuff for yourself and not for other people, which I feel like is very hard to do these days. I feel like I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I'm going to the gym because I want to impress this guy or something like that, but it really should be, I want to go to the gym because I want to better myself, I want to get stronger, build more muscle, stuff like that. And last is media literacy. I think people have to understand that social media creates a distorted version of life and beauty and allows teens to break free from harmful comparison and unrealistic standards. I think we have to understand that, because some people, again, we talk about this all the time, social media is literally a highlight reel of your life. Even if I post on Instagram, it's just a highlight reel. It's not what's actually happening in my day-to-day life. Like, obviously we all struggle with things. If you don't, you live in a perfect life, and that's really unfair. But you have to remember that I am only showing you like 30 seconds of my day, 45 seconds of the day, max maybe 30 minutes of your day. So we have to see that everyone does struggle with stuff. They just decide not to post it, because I think the base of social media is to make people happy and kind of get away from that life and like forget about that life that you're in for 30 seconds, an hour, 2 hours maybe. Okay, now let's get into the content. I feel like summer can make confidence feel like a performance because everyone's outside in swimsuits, taking beach pictures, posting highlight reels of their best summer moments. And I feel like if you are maybe back at home and you're doing an internship, or you're not going out as much, you might feel like you're quote unquote behind. I don't think so. That is not a thing. And you might feel like you exist or your summer doesn't count. I think this kind of pressure can turn confidence to something you have to prove instead of something that you like live in and like something that you do day to day. I think if you see people posting all the time and then you're like, okay, well, I need to go outside, take a photo of my bathing suit, but oh my god, I don't look good, which means I have to Photoshop my body. No, you don't have to do that. Instead, you can literally be grateful that if you're doing an internship, you have the time to do an internship, right? Like, obviously going to the beach and taking photos is all fun, but like at the end of the day, who's really winning? You are. I think confidence is not the same thing as looking confident as well. I think most people confuse and people post confident content, but they still struggle behind the scenes. And again, you have to understand that and kind of go into things with more of an open mind when you look at stuff like that. And let me give you some examples of what confidence feels like and doesn't look like. I personally think it's internal and it doesn't always translate well in photos, but at least for me, confidence is speaking up in a group when it's uncomfortable and like wearing stuff that like really expresses me and not a trend. That's something I've really tried to work on these past couple months, especially. Like obviously everyone has a Brandy Melville phase, you know, the Urban Outfitter Out From Under tops, like they're all very cute and trendy stuff, but at the end of the day it never really flattered me. And now like I'm shopping at Zara and trying to find more unique pieces that like actually flatter my body. And yes, I still shop at Brandy Melville Urban Outfitters, but I try to look for stuff that's uniquely for me and works for me. And then also another thing I think, at least for the summer, is like going to the beach and not caring about posing. I think like you have to understand like everybody has tummy rolls. Just because you see someone with six-pack abs on TikTok, they're still gonna get bloated. Like it's sometimes really hard concept to wrap even my own head around, and I kind of beat myself up for it sometimes, but like trying to work on it is the important part. If you're not working at it at all, that's kind of the negative side of it. And obviously everyone's gonna have a couple negative thoughts throughout their day, and that is okay because you are human and you can't really control that. And it's something that is gonna basically be a forever going process. Like you're never, at least from what I've heard, you're never actually gonna be like 100% always stable in your house. I think you're not your house, in yourself. And it's something that sometimes we just have to understand, and that is okay. And lastly is saying no to something that just doesn't feel quite right. Like maybe your friends are asking you to go out to a party and you just have a gut feeling that it's not something that's going to work for you. That is 100% okay, and you can say no. And saying no doesn't just apply to the summer. It's just life in general. If something doesn't feel right, just don't go. And I think you build your confidence through actions, not appearance. And that strengthens your identity and resilience if you do it more for like actions. And like, at least for me, my confidence is definitely improved. Like when I do speak up in group scenarios and I get good feedback, or when I do go to the gym just for myself instead of more like how I look. And like obviously I have gained confidence, but it's more through what I've done, not how I look. And obviously posting like on social media can be very tricky. Posting something quote unquote brave like a swimsuit pic can feel empowering, but it's followed by, you know, obsessively checking likes or needing external feedback. It's not real security, I think. And performing confidence for others can, I think, like break down my self-trust over time, because my worth would start depending on reactions and likes and comments rather than how I feel about my personal self. And I think validating addiction is real, but it's also really exhausting, I think. And I've learned that confidence isn't really about being seen. It's about more like seeing myself clearly and still liking who I am in whatever stage of life I am in. Okay, next is how to just practice offline confidence. I would start small, right? If you are really into beauty and makeup, go out without makeup. Say no to something that drains you and do something alone and be proud of it. I think a lot of social butterflies would be like, this is so hard for me. But I think being alone, if you're not good with being alone for yourself, there's no way you can fully be good with other people because you're not confident in yourself. And I really started to learn the art of being alone, and I actually enjoy it sometimes. Like I would, in the morning today, for example, I had a really peaceful morning. I went to the gym, I got breakfast, I did my laundry. Obviously, it doesn't sound the most fun, but I've enjoyed it because I was like with myself and I was able to like reflect. I think that's some really important time, self-reflection and mindfulness, which we also talked about a couple episodes ago. Another thing is mirror talk. I think we have to replace negative self-talk with one sentence of truth, but not the fake hype, the real truth. Like, I'm so proud of myself for doing this today, and stuff like that. Even I started to do like, because at my summer camp right now, I don't have a full body mirror, which I honestly think has been really good for my confidence, just like in my appearance wise. Obviously, I'm still working on it. I'm trying to give you guys advice, but I'm also working on it myself. And I think that's really helped me to kind of realize, okay, I don't have to like quote unquote be skinny or have that hourglass, as long as like I feel good in my body and my skin. And then I think actions over aesthetics. You have to choose something that makes you feel powerful even if no one sees it, like running a mile, writing a journal entry, cleaning my space, trying something creative. And I would keep a proof list in my app about the things I've done that made me feel really good and strong and brave. Even if no one knows about them, I think one of the best things I've ever heard is that like you work so hard in silence that when other people see you, they're shocked at the results because they don't know what you've been up to, but they just see how they can see that you're working hard, but they don't know what's happening. And I personally really like that. I like working so hard that like I don't have to tell people what I'm doing. So here's a mini challenge. Do one thing that makes you feel confident, but don't post about it, and just sit with that feeling and just let it completely be yours. And if someone wants to tell you something, or if you want to tell someone something, write it in a journal or say it out loud, because letting the confidence belong to you first is really important before you ask other people for validation. So the key takeaways are: confidence isn't built in front of cameras, it's built in the moment that no one sees, and that's the kind of confidence that lasts. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, because I know I did. It was really good to just talk about it, even if it was for 10 minutes. And again, if you guys have any episode requests, definitely let me know. DM us on Instagram, TikTok. You can post it on our Spotify, YouTube comments, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in another amazing episode of Teen Talk Central next Sunday. And I love you guys so much, and bye!